The galaxy's most fragile sound was not an explosion. It was silence. Not the peaceful kind, no. This silence came after screaming stopped. It came after fire swallowed oxygen, after buildings collapsed, and after thousands of voices vanished into static. Admiral Alara Miles stood alone in the Terran Directorate War Room, watching the final transmission from Vega Colony flicker across the holoscreen. Her fists tightened behind her back, nails biting into her palm, but she didn't blink. She owed the dead that much. The broadcast began again. A colony courtyard, smoke, chaos, artificial dust caused by burning rooftops. Families ran for shelter that did not exist. The recording was grainy, captured from a civilian's wrist palm. A mother clutched a crying child. "Please, someone, anyone, Earth, can you hear?" A flash of white erased the image. Static flooded the room. When the scream returned, a new figure appeared, Archon Veilcor, supreme ruler of the Celestial Dominion. His armor resembled obsidian carved into a humanoid outline. For burning pupils glowed with a predator's satisfaction. "People of Earth," Veilcor declared, his voice sharp as a blade. "Submit now. You have been weighed and found inferior." Behind him, soldiers executed survivors with mechanical precision. He didn't look back, he simply watched the camera, savoring every second. "Mercy," he said, "is reserved for equals." The transmission cut. Silence reclaimed the war room. Alara inhaled slowly through her nose. She kept her voice neutral, as if discussing weather. "Timestamp? 47 minutes ago," replied Commander Jonas Hale, her second in command. His voice trembled despite his rigid posture. We lost contact after that." "Casualties?" Jonas swallowed hard. 17,000 confirmed. Many more unrecoverable. A muscle in Alara's jaw twitched. Not sadness. Focus. She turned her gaze to the dark window overlooking Earth from orbit. Home spun below like a fragile blue marble, soft oceans, white clouds, green continents. Peaceful. Trusting. Innocent. She remembered the first contact meeting only a decade ago, how the human delegation had gone with open hands and hopeful hearts. They shared medicine, crop technology, star maps. Nothing was held back. Humanity offered peace. The Dominion responded with demands. Now they responded with extermination. "Archon Veilcor believes we will kneel," she murmured. Jonas nodded. "He thinks peace means weakness." "Peace," Alara said, voice sharpening, "means restraint." Jonas didn't reply. He knew what came next. They all knew. A soft chime echoed as the war room doors opened. Director Armand Salvatore, highest political authority of Earth, entered with the controlled elegance of someone accustomed to weighty decisions. His silver hair and tailored uniform didn't disguise the exhaustion lining his eyes. "Alara," he said quietly, "the Senate is calling for negotiations." Alara turned away from the window. Her expression remained unreadable. "Negotiations?" she asked. "They believe another transmission may de-escalate. Perhaps a surrender of territory. Temporary tribute." Jonas stepped forward. "Sir, they butchered civilians. Any negotiation will." Armand silenced him with a gentle raised hand. "I am not asking for approval. I am informing my admiral." Alara studied him for one long moment. "Director," she said slowly, "when a predator tastes blood, negotiation means nothing." Her voice held calmness that chilled even Jonas. "They will take tribute. Then Earth." Armand rubbed his temples. "The Senate believes revealing our fleet strength may provoke them into retreat." "We have no fleet," Jonas muttered bitterly. "At least, nothing compared to theirs." Alara finally faced them both fully. "Correction," she said. "We have the fleet they know about." Armand blinked. "You don't mean?" "Yes," she replied. "Project Pandora." The air changed. Jonas straightened. Armand froze. Pandora wasn't rumor. It was a classified phantom program whispered only in sublevel security vaults, buried beneath oceans, hidden behind civilian budgets. A project so secret that even the Senate believed it cancelled. Elara walked toward the central table. A biometric scanner flashed below her hand. Access override, Admiral Elara Miles. Project Pandora, authorized. The table lit up. Holographic star charts expanded across the room, revealing a lattice of shipyards concealed behind the moon, inside asteroid belts, in the shadow of Neptune. Rows of icons appeared, each representing an asset. Elara named them with terrifying precision. 72 stealth cruisers. 9 heavy carriers. 1 dreadnought. Jonas exhaled with awe. You finished it. No. Elara's eyes hardened. The Dominion finished it for us. Armand stared, torn between relief and fear. Why was the Senate kept unaware? Elara met his gaze without hesitation. Because politicians hesitate. Veilcore will not. Armand paced, breathing unevenly. If we deploy this fleet, the galaxy will know Earth has been building a military shadow empire. Yes, she said. And they will know why. Jonas leaned his palms on the table. Sir, Vega Colony was a message. If we don't respond, humanity dies. Armand stopped pacing. What do you intend to do? He asked quietly. Elara projected the Dominion border map. We strike once. Precisely. No warning. No retaliation slaughter. Her voice remained steady. We destroy their forward command network. We disable their nearest armada. And we broadcast the truth. Jonas blinked. Broadcast? Elara turned to the holoscreen, still frozen on the last frame of Vega, the mother's face before light consumed her. They want the galaxy to see humans beg, she said. Instead, they will witness consequences. Armand finally nodded. You have authorization. Jonas released a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. When do we deploy? Elara pressed her palm onto the command terminal. From deep within Earth's orbit, station lights pulsed. Gravity anchors disengaged. Dormant engines warmed like waking beasts. Shipyards darkened as black holes absorbed the stars. Her voice never rose. Effective immediately. The war room vibrated as a low tremor rolled through the station. The holoscreen shifted to live tactical feed. One by one, icons turned green. Pandora was awake. Elara lifted her chin. To all fleet captains, maintain radio silence. This is not retaliation. She paused. This is correction. Jonas' eyes narrowed. Admiral, the Dominion will realize what we're doing. Veilcore might strike Earth directly. A flicker of steel entered her voice. Let him try. Armand stepped forward. The Senate will demand a formal statement before we fire the first shot. Elara tapped a small data crystal onto the table. I already recorded one. Armand's eyebrows rose. What did you say? Elara faced the viewport again, Earth shining below her, oblivious to the war beginning in its name. I said. She turned, locking eyes with both men. We tried peace. Now they'll meet the other side of humanity. Outside, the first wave of stealth cruisers vanished into hyperspace, silent, invisible, unstoppable. War had begun. And for the first time in human history, humanity wasn't afraid. The descent elevator was silent except for the hum of magnetic rails. Admiral Elara Miles stood with her hands clasped behind her back, staring at the descending numbers. Depth, 41,200 meters. Level, Pandora Apex. Jonas Hale stood beside her. He spoke once they were alone, voice low. Elara, do you ever think about what happens if we lose? She didn't look at him. If we lose, nobody will remain to regret it. The platform stopped. The doors slid open to reveal the heart of humanity's most guarded secret. An underground ocean of steel. Multiple dry dock rings surrounded a cavern so massive the far walls dissolved into distance. Half-finished carriers hovered under anti-gravity fields. A command-spine dreadnought, the Omen, lay anchored at the center like a dark leviathan, its hull absorbing the light. The air smelled faintly of ozone, plasma welders, and oil. Thousands of engineers worked without idle conversation. Silence wasn't enforced, it was reverence. Jonas inhaled. Every time I see this place, I still can't believe we pulled it off. We didn't, Elara corrected. Humanity did. Billions lived in ignorance so this could exist. As they walked along the command walkway, massive screens displayed strategic updates. Hull plating data. Artificial gravity lattice diagnostics. Hull numbers, NX Dreadnought 01 through 09, flickered in red readiness icons. A young officer intercepted them near a hull station. Admiral, she said, straightening. Systems check complete. Stealth lattice operational across all carriers. Dreadnought reactor is stable. Elara nodded. Status of crew? Volunteers only. All understand mission risk. The officer paused before adding quietly. Some requested the option to record final messages. Approved, Elara replied. Every soldier deserves a voice. The officer saluted and left, boots tapping briskly over the metal walkway. Jonas leaned closer. You didn't tell the Senate about that either? No, Elara said simply. The Senate has never understood the cost of orders they sign. They entered the Fleet Command atrium, where benches lined a briefing stage. Dozens of captains, men and women handpicked for discipline, sat waiting. Elara took center position. Captains, she began. You are the first of your kind. Earth has never fielded starships beyond moon orbit. Today, that changes. She tapped a key on her datapad. A massive data sphere sprang to life, showing the Dominion's border network. These are their forward strongholds. They monitor every jump corridor. They believe we are contained. A ripple of quiet anger spread across the room. Elara enlarged the sphere, revealing a hidden route behind a collapsed wormhole. But they don't know we rebuilt an ancient gate. We can bypass their entire defense perimeter. A captain in his 30s, Commander A.O. Damaris, raised a hand. Admiral, if the Dominion realizes we used their abandoned gate, they'll hunt the source. That points straight back to Earth. Elara held eye contact. That's why we strike fast. She switched the display to the dreadnought schematics. Our target is not their fleet. It is their ability to command. Another captain frowned. You mean, take out their war council? No. Elara zoomed in on a massive spiraling space station. We take out Archon Veilcor's strategic relay nexus. Every Dominion war decision originates here. Without it, they become scattered tribes, not an empire. Silence settled, a collective realization of the scale. Commander Damaris leaned back. We'd be cutting off the head. Elara's voice remained steady. Cut off the head, and the body never learns where the blade came from. Jonas stepped forward next to her. Captains, the first strike is not conquest. It is warning, Elara finished, and our message will be remembered. After the briefing, Jonas caught up with her near the observation deck. Beyond the glass, crews weren't assembling weapons, they were checking life support. Not war fanatics. People ready to die to prevent more dying. You could have told them that Pandora wasn't built for war, Jonas said. It doesn't matter what I say, Elara replied. It matters what must be done. You make it sound easy. Nothing about this is easy. But clarity is not cruelty. Jonas watched her reflection in the glass. You didn't answer earlier. She didn't pretend not to understand. How do you sleep, knowing every decision draws us closer to a war the rest of humanity didn't vote for? Elara's voice was barely above a whisper. I sleep because I know the alternative. Submission. Chains. Extinction. Jonas didn't press further. They entered the bridge of the Omen, accessible only through triple biometric locks. The interior looked nothing like a traditional ship. No visible controls, only neural interfaces designed to read intent. The bridge had only 12 seats, everything else was automated or handled through AI co-processing. A soft voice greeted them. Welcome aboard, Admiral Miles. Welcome back, Commander Hale. The voice belonged to ALYS, the fleet's command AI. Her tone carried warmth without artificial cheer. ALYS felt almost alive. Status report, Elara said. 100 holographic displays appeared at once, suspended in ordered rows. Pandora fleet readiness, 86%. Gate stabilization, 92%. Dominion surveillance remains unaware of activity. Jonas exhaled with relief. They haven't detected us. Not yet, ALYS corrected. But probability of detection rises significantly once we cross the gate. Elara walked toward the central command chair. ALYS, initiate cruise synchronization protocols. Acknowledged. Syncing neural signatures across all vessels. Every ship in the hidden fleet hummed in response. A synchronized pulse of blue light flashed across their hulls. Jonas watched in awe. It's like they're breathing. They are, Elara said. Together. Hours later, while Elara finished reviewing intelligence reports, Jonas approached with a data tablet. This just came in, he said. From the Senate. She didn't touch it. Let me guess. Another diplomatic message. They want us to transmit willingness to negotiate. Elara took the tablet, skimmed the document, then deleted it. They still think they can barter with predators. She moved to the command console and projected Earth's silent night side. The cities glowed like constellations, a fragile beauty, unaware of the blade above them. This planet gave us life, she said. Now we will return the favor. Jonas hesitated, not in disagreement, but in understanding. You were never planning to retaliate for revenge, he said. Elara nodded. Revenge is emotional. This is preservation. She straightened. Signal fleet deployment. Jonas saluted sharply. Yes, Admiral. A moment later, klaxons pulsed, not alarms, but activation signals. The shipyards released their locks. Thousands of clamps disengaged with metallic finality. ALYS's voice echoed through every vessel. All hands! Prepare for launch. The dreadnought engines ignited, flooding the cavern with white-blue light. One by one, ships rose from their docks and drifted toward the massive gate hidden in the darkness beyond Neptune's shadow. The Pandora fleet stretched across the void like an obsidian arrow fired into the unknown. Jonas spoke without taking his eyes off the viewport. When we cross that gate, there's no coming back. Elara placed her hand on the railing. We never planned to. The gate flared open, its surface rippling like fluid starfire. Elara gave her first true order of war. Pandora fleet, jump! The dreadnought surged forward. Hyperspace collapsed around the Pandora fleet with a ripple of fractured starlight. Elara gripped the arm of the command chair as the dreadnought, the Omen, emerged into real space, silent, cloaked, undetectable. Around them, Earth's hidden warships fell into formation, rows of black hulls forming a spearhead. They arrived at Mars' orbit. The Dominion had not. Not yet. But they were coming. ALYS, the ship's AI, broke the silence. Graviton disturbances detected. Probability of incoming warp event, 97%. Jonas checked the tactical display. That fast? They wasted no time. They smelled blood at Vega Colony, Elara said. They want another strike before Earth rallies. ALYS continued. Projected vector, Mars civilian logistics ring. Jonas swore under his breath. They're not even targeting military assets. Elara's voice cooled. Predators don't strike the strongest. They go for the unprotected. Her knuckles tightened on the chair. Prepare intercept grid. The bridge crew moved with controlled urgency. No shouting, no panic, only execution. Elara opened a fleet-wide channel. All captains. Silent positioning. No premature engagement. We strike only when I give the order. A chorus of acknowledgments echoed through the command link. The Pandora fleet shifted, dozens of massive ships disappearing behind phased cloaking fields, merging with the darkness around Mars. Across from the dreadnought, the civilian ring glittered with habitat lights, families, scientists, workers. Lives. Elara paused for one quiet breath. Not again. The stars distorted. Space tore open. A Dominion war carrier the size of a mountain dropped out of hyperspace with thunderous distortion, hauling 3 cruisers and 2 support frigates in tow. Their hulls bore the obsidian insignia of Veilcor's conquest fleets. Jonas inhaled sharply. That's not a scouting group. That's an execution squad. The Dominion carrier opened a channel, blasting a transmission across the system. No permission, no courtesy. The calm display filled with the harsh, segmented face of a Dominion war commander. He looked amused. Mars outpost. Prepare for subjugation. Compliance spares suffering. No demands. No negotiations. Just certainty that humans would kneel. Elara nodded to her comm officer. Mute. I don't speak with executioners. The comm officer cut the line mid-threat. The Dominion carrier launched plasma boarding torpedoes toward the habitat ring. Each torpedo carried a squad of soldiers. Jonas tensed. We have to move now. Not yet. Elara's voice remained level. She watched the Dominion formation shift, searching for flanking ships, revealing their blind spots. War wasn't brute force. War was timing. HFY zoomed the tactical image. Dominion carrier shields at 80%. Power concentrated forward. Rear vector unprotected during torpedo launch. They exposed their back to accelerate boarding. Elara murmured. Arrogant. Or confident, Jonas said. Elara shook her head. Confident is careful. Arrogance is blind. She stood. Jonas. Deploy our gravity traps. Within seconds, the Pandora fleet released micrograviton buoys, silent spheres that formed an invisible layer of distortion behind the Dominion formation. The trap was set. When the Dominion carrier slowed to unleash more torpedoes, the distortion activated. The warship jolted, caught in warp space. Jonas grinned. Got them. Elara spoke calmly into the fleet channel. All ships. Remove stealth. Pandora fleet decloaked as one. Dozens of black hulls shimmered into existence, silent titans surrounding the Dominion like predators circling a wounded beast. Chaos erupted in the enemy formation. Their war commander reappeared on the screen, eyes wide. Impossible. Humans have no war capability. Elara cut him off. No. We had no need. She raised her hand. Fire. A single Terran carrier unleashed a focused rail barrage. 3 Dominion cruisers exploded before they could charge shields. Their fragments spiraled into Mars' low orbit, burning into glittering streaks. Jonas blinked. 3 ships, in one volley. Precision is force, Elara replied. The enemy carrier struggled to rotate weapons toward them, but the gravity trap held it in place. HFY reported calmly. Enemy attempting to overload engines to break free. Estimated failure in 40 seconds. Elara tapped the console. Target engines. 1 shot. The Omen's spine cannon charged, silent, cold, lethal. Jonas whispered. They're realizing we're not prey. Elara didn't smile. They're realizing we evolved. The beam fired clean, surgical. The Dominion carrier's engines disintegrated in a burst of white fire, rendering the ship powerless. The Dominion commander's face reappeared on the screen. Rage, disbelief, fear. Earth has hidden this fleet? You defy the Dominion? No, Elara said calmly. We defy extinction. He bared serrated teeth. We will burn your planet, Route 2. She silenced him with a gesture. Alice. Cut transmission. Transmission severed. The carrier began venting atmosphere. Soldiers inside screamed. Jonas spoke quietly. We should finish them. Elara watched the crippled ship drift, helpless, stranded. They cannot harm Mars anymore. They can be rescued. Capture, interrogate, understand their command structure. Jonas blinked. You're letting survivors live? They deserve a chance to speak truth to Veilcor. Fear spreads faster from the mouth of the defeated. She turned to the comm station. Send a tight beam message. Coordinates, rescue corridor, surrender terms. The comm officer nodded. Elara added. And send this voice recording to their fleet command. Her voice stabilized like steel cooled in water. Humanity does not seek war. But we will not kneel. Mars Habitat Ring sent a transmission. Their governor appeared on screen, eyes wide, voice trembling. Admiral Miles, you saved us. Protect your people. We're not finished yet. She ended the channel before gratitude could settle. She couldn't afford to feel relief. Relief softened judgment. Jonas approached. Veilcore will react now. We just humiliated a Dominion armada. No, Elara said. We demonstrated boundaries. She looked out into the void, where Dominion wreckage drifted like burned leaves. Let Veilcore interpret that however he chooses. Jonas studied her. And if he responds with a full invasion? She met his eyes. Then we will respond with history. As the captured Dominion carrier was secured and the fleet prepared for the next jump, HFY spoke again. Admiral, unknown transmission. Origin, Dominion High Command. Elara nodded. Play it. Archon Veilcore's face appeared. No theatrics. No pretense. Just quiet fury. You were given peace. You chose war. Elara didn't blink. No, she answered. You chose what comes next. The channel ended. Pandora fleet jumped into dark space, leaving behind the shattered remains of arrogance. Mars had survived. The galaxy had noticed. Humanity had spoken. Dominion space smelled like ozone and cold metal. Elara stood inside the captured Dominion carrier's central command chamber, now dim, its systems restrained by human overrides. The air was stale, heavy with the residue of burned circuitry. Dominion banners still hung on the walls, their jagged symbols illuminated by flickering emergency lights. Behind her, a squad of Terran Marines escorted a group of Dominion prisoners, injured, exhausted, and disarmed. Their armor plating had been removed or burned away. Some limped. One was carried. Not a single weapon remained among them. Jonas Hale stepped beside her, helmet under his arm. They expected torture chambers, he said softly. Elara nodded once. They'll get medical care instead. Jonas glanced at the prisoners, who stared back with confusion more than fear. Dominion doctrine promised that enemies were either enslaved or vaporized. Mercy wasn't part of their vocabulary. Elara walked toward the lead alien, the officer who had commanded the carrier's assault on Mars. His narrow mandibles quivered when she approached. We gave your wounded doctors, she said. We stabilized your hull. We opened a rescue corridor. The officer forced himself upright. His voice rasped like sand across metal. Why? Elara didn't raise her voice. Because we are not you. The officer blinked, unable to process that answer. Behind her, engineers installed a broadcast node on the Dominion's own communications array. Elara watched their progress through the transparent screen. Jonas leaned closer. We're using their relay? We don't broadcast from strength, she replied. We broadcast from truth. He frowned. You're undermining their propaganda network using their own infrastructure. Exactly. The Dominion prisoners whispered among themselves. They healed us? Why? What is the tactical gain? They should have executed us. Elara resisted the urge to respond. Their confusion wasn't an obstacle, it was a message. She approached the engineering station. Status? The technician tapped a key. Transmission command ready. Once you speak, every Dominion listening post in this quadrant will receive the broadcast. Jonas exhaled. When Veilcore sees this, he'll want your head. Elara answered without emotion. Good. Fear is the first crack. A small recording platform rose from the floor, illuminated by a single white light. No banners. No Terran insignia. Just Elara, unarmed, centered calm. HFY spoke through the overhead speakers. Admiral, Link is live. Say the word. Elara stepped onto the platform. Around the galaxy, Thousands of Dominion officers would soon see her face. Jonas joined her but stayed just out of frame. You only get one opening line. I only need one. Elara addressed the lens. Her voice was soft, unthreatening, unshaken. Archon Veilcor. The transmission carried her words instantly. You destroyed Vega Colony. You slaughtered civilians. Images of Vega flashed across multiple displays, taken from Dominion cameras, bodies, collapsed shelters, fire spreading unchecked. You said we would kneel? She paused, long enough that silence became pressure. We came with open hands. You answered with blood. Jonas watched the incoming telemetry feed as every Dominion outpost receiving the signal lit up red. Connection confirmed. Elara continued. To your people, I say this, humans are not conquerors. Her expression did not soften. We are the wall that stops tyrants. She stepped aside, revealing the Dominion prisoners seated in the medical ward behind transparent barriers, not tortured, not chained. They were being treated. Dominion medics, prisoners themselves, assisted Terran doctors. Cooperation, not coercion. Gasps echoed from the prisoners watching from the command chamber. Elara spoke again. We saved your soldiers. A close-up showed a Dominion medic stabilizing one of their wounded. Beside him, a Terran surgeon handed instruments. No hostility. A team. When you fired on Mars, we did not respond in kind. We disabled your carrier instead of erasing it. She returned her attention to the camera. This is the difference between us. Jonas murmured. You're not threatening them. You're forcing them to compare. Elara's voice deepened. Peace is not surrender. Kindness is not weakness. The lights dimmed. A final image replaced the medbay feed. Pandora fleet, emerging from the void, 80 warships, hulls black and silent, engines pulsing with restrained power. But understand this, mercy has limits. She leaned forward slightly. We do not seek war. A final pause. But if you bring it to our door, we will end it. HFY executed the final command. Across the galaxy, the broadcast ended by displaying a message stark and plain. Humanity tried peace. Seconds later, the second line appeared. Now you'll meet the other side. The transmission cut. The room stayed silent. Even the Dominion prisoners didn't breathe. Jonas finally exhaled. You just declared war without declaring war. No, Elara answered. I just declared responsibility. Later, Elara walked with Jonas through the carrier's dim halls. Marines patrolled every intersection, but the prisoners did not resist. Not after that broadcast. Jonas broke the quiet first. What if this backfires? What if Veilcor sends the full Dominion armada? He won't, she said. How can you be sure? Elara stopped at an observation port showing the fleet outside, rows of Terran ships, forming a barrier of silent defiance. When terrified empires face something unknown, they don't rush in, she said. They hesitate. Jonas studied her. Good leaders predict the enemy. Great leaders make the enemy predictable. Elara didn't deny it. A medic approached her. Admiral? One of the prisoners wants to speak with you. The Dominion officer, the same one who had asked why, stood weakly, leaning on a support rail. His mandibles trembled, not with fear, but conviction. I saw what your people did today, he said quietly. You treated our wounded. You offered surrender. That makes you dangerous. Elara raised an eyebrow. Mercy frightens you? No, he whispered. It frightens Veilcor. His eyes met hers, intense and shaken. Empires cannot defeat an enemy who chooses when to be kind, and when to be lethal. Jonas froze. Elara didn't smile. She simply turned away. Tell him, she said softly, to take that message home. Inside the Omen's bridge, HFY interrupted the quiet. Incoming transmission. Dominion origin. Encryption priority 1. Elara motioned. Put it through. Veilcor appeared, no arrogance this time. No dramatic speech. Just cold tension. You will regret showing mercy. Elara's reply was immediate. And you will regret mistaking it. She ended the connection. Jonas looked at her, a mix of awe and dread. What now? Elara stepped toward the viewport. No, she said. We stop reacting. Beyond the glass, Pandora fleet aligned into jump formation. We take control of the war.